I am Lina Orlando. I have woken up with this excitement. I just am feeling the level of drive that I felt when I opened up the Center for Awareness in Atlanta back in 2007. I was a realtor living my life in East Cobb. I had done all the things, I checked all the boxes. I was a successful realtor. I was somebody who was well known in the community because I was a volunteer to so many things. I was so involved with my kids' schools. And at one point, I had kids in three schools in East Cobb, elementary school, middle school, high school. Everybody knew me. I was in the PTA, I was involved in the HOA. I used to organize several fundraisers in East Cobb. I was on the tennis team. I was one of those people that a lot of people knew, super, super involved. And then I got this call to open up a center for awareness. I was told exactly what it was going to be about. I was told that I was going to leave my career. Actually, I wasn't told I had to leave my real estate career. I was told where I was headed. And I felt this guidance, and I knew I had to listen. I knew I cannot go against that voice. In 2007, I was 5 years into my spiritual journey because that journey started in 2002. Up until that point, I had been primarily studying teachings and reading a ton of books. I think by then I had read like 200 books, and it was all about understanding the power of our mind, understanding how creative we are, reading about God in totally different ways than what I had grown up with as a Catholic girl. And then I didn't really practice Catholicism as an adult. I went to non-denominational churches and I went on a deep dive to understand that everything that I have been taught in the religious arena is all made up. Now, a lot of it is influenced by people who had experiences with God or Jesus, as I have had. So I want to give everyone who shared their personal experience credit because they were speaking about what they were doing. But God did not write the Bible. God's not a person. God doesn't have hands and doesn't write. For God to give us messages, it has to come through a conduit. And a lot of what I was studying was about how we had been indoctrinated into believe that the church has power over our spiritual experience, our spiritual growth, that we have to go through them. They're the middleman for us to get to God. And all of this was created with the Catholic Church in the year 325, I believe it was, after Jesus's death. Basically, the Roman Emperor Constantine called all of these bishops together to form the Catholic Church, which translates to universal church. So the emperor wanted to have one religion that everybody had to follow, and if you didn't follow that religion, then they had the ability to basically put you to death. And there's a whole lot of information around that, so feel free to research that if that interests you. But that process was a necessary process for me to begin to shift my allegiance. Oh, this is touching me deeply. To shift my allegiance from God out there to God in here. I was discovering that anything that humans have made up is always going to lead us away from where God is, well, the only place God can be found, which is inside. And to be able to be clear about what we are, who we are, the purpose of our existence, we have to come to know God. And if there is a middleman telling you things that are not true or pointing you in the direction that is basically sending you to look for God in all the wrong places where God is not, you are going to go on a long journey of being lost. There's just no way around it. So until you make the decision to come inside and come to know where God is, that is the only way you're going to come to know God because you're going to feel it.